going to go back in history to when we were kids. And when I was a kid, we played marbles, and there were a whole bunch of different names you called marbles, like alleys, and it changed somewhere in the 60s to something else. I think it was dubs or something. But anyway, you played holesies, which were 3 holes, and you had to do the there and back again before you could take your opponent out. Follows, where you just follow along, and if you hit him, you owe him a marble, and things like that. But what we're going to look at is ringsies. And what ringsies is, you drew a ring, or in the sand or the dirt or a bit of chalk on the ground. You each put in equal amount of marbles, and then you started to flick them out. If you got them out of the ring, they were yours. And if your lead marble, the one you're using, stayed in the ring, well, you lost it. In this episode, we're going to have a look at something really interesting. Around about the 1900s, they began inventing the combustion engine, as well as the steam engine, as well as things that electric, all to drive cars, all the way to about 1930. Things were happening, new inventions were being made, and if you think anything they have today is new, well, you just need to look back in history and to find it's already been invented. But the thing that I really found interesting is where you start an engine with a cartridge, a shotgun cartridge. You shove it in, screw the thing up, hit it with a hammer, and the engine goes. But you also need a piece of blotting paper. You light that up and stick that in another hole, so the two combined can start an engine. So let's have a look at that. And with me is Tex, and welcome to our little show, Tex.
Thanks, Bill.
We've seen a few field marshals in our travels, but the majority of the ones we've seen are green. And I guess that's an older version of when they decided to paint them orange.
Yeah, I don't know, I can't remember, don't know the reasoning of the change in colour, but this is a Series 3A. So the last of the green ones were a Series 3. Oh, and just a modification, yeah.
Oh, okay. So how long have you had this?
30-something years. It's been around here, yeah. Yep.
And you had some before that?
Yes, yeah. My father had a green Series 3, and but he traded that in at the Happers in Dunsandel, yeah, and he drove the green one up there and drove this orange one back, yeah.
So 40 years ago, they're still using this on the farm?
Oh, yes, yeah, okay.
Yeah. He must have thought it was a real reliable thing.
Yeah. I'm a bit reluctant to upgrade tractors, probably half the trouble. Okay. But they're good pulling tractor. They're heavy in the back end, and so they're good machines and really economical. Single cylinder diesel, yeah. Yeah,
so I'm told that this starts with a cartridge, although we haven't seen that yet. And have you got a cartridge?
Yeah, got one there. Yeah, she's a.
Okay. Well, there it is. Yeah, that's it. It's a bullet. It says here, folks, I don't know if you can see it at all, but it says Marshall diesel engine powder start cartridges, 65 millimeters long. But would you kill a bird with that?
No, that's just a powder load, like a blank shot, really.
Well, and it's enough just to move something.
Yeah, just takes you set the piston in the right spot, and just the hit of the cartridge takes her over centre and gets it running. Yeah.
So how far in the process is this along? So you have to do a bunch of other things.
Oh yeah, you've just got to prime the 2 shots of the injector, just to prime a bit of fuel above the piston, and set the crank in the right spot, and then light an ignition paper, just like a spark plug for that first hit, and then you hit the cartridge and away she goes. Yeah.
Have you got a piece of ignition paper?
Yeah. It's just a little bit of blotting paper, really.
Oh, okay.
It's blotting paper, but it's supposed to be soaked in saltpeter, just to give her a bit of burnability.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's all it is. You put that in the.
Yeah, you just light that. There's a special holder for that, and you light
flame,
that.
Or is it just...
No. She just as long as it's glowing red. Red, she'll go right. And actually, a cigarette's another good tool for those that are smokers. Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so we've got a piece of paper and a bullet, and we're going to start that. That's amazing. You start a tractor with a piece of paper and a bullet. So let's go through the process.
Run through the process, yeah. Just a few tools required.
A hammer.
Yeah, so just prime the fuel by turning the crank a couple of revolutions. There's 1 shot of the injector. There's a second. Or she might get 3 this time. We just have to align the mark.
I just see there's a little arrow.
Yep.
What you're aligning it to.
There she is, and she's got start stamped on the wheel. Yeah, so the next thing is the decompression roller. We just put her on the first groove.
Okay.
And now we're all ready. Just some. I'll put the cartridge in, of course.
It's amazing how somebody's thought of all these things, how to make it go.
Oh yeah. Mind you, they evolve over a few years.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can get the cartridge in, Goes in the holder here.
Just explain this to us.
Yeah, this is the holds the firing pin. And you can see the hammer strikes the pin there, and just like on a shotgun, the wee firing pin comes out
Oh, okay.
and ignites the
Hey.
cartridge. Yeah. So we can slide that in the breech, and just tighten on the cap.
So there's no way it's going to go off before you hit it.
That's where you hope that the previous fellow didn't have the firing pin too long. So we just add one of the main tools. Everything's just got to be nipped up tight, so there you know that that's right. So this is the paper holder, which goes right into the above the piston.
So that's why you're rolling it up.
Yep,
it fits
so
in
she's
there.
got to fit in there. Yep. I'll probably have to disappear into a less windy spot, but oh no, we can get a bill. That's right.
There's not a great deal of wind today. That's good.
Good Canterbury day.
That'll smoulder rather than.
Yeah, yes, you'll. Usually by the time one match has run out, you know you're about right. So, yeah, good red glow on there. Insert her in the head.
So that's right in front of the piston.
Yep, right in the cylinder head, same as place as a spark plug would be.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And then just go like that, and then if everything's right, she should go. There you are. Maybe that third shot of fuel when we were turning the crank just gave her a bit of extra blue.
Oh, right. What's the gearbox arrangement?
Just 6-speed.
Oh, okay.
6-speed, yeah, low high box and three forwards of reverse, yeah.
So you got 3 gears in low and 3 gears in high.
That's right, yep.
Okay. It's a big air cleaner.
Yep.
So we've got to get this out now.
Yeah, one trick with these old things was getting that shot cartridge out, but we'll see what happens. She won't go. I'll just try this. There she goes.
Look at that, it's a bit melted. It's got a, that's a hole in there. It's been fired, of course, and look at that.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't have gone for that drive. Should have taken that out beforehand.
Okay,
But anyway, at least we got it.
Yeah. So that's what you would have done. Started it and then just taken it out.
Yep.
So with that pressure behind it, that just blew that about.
Yeah. That
20
was just flicked the decompression valve and she blew it out there.
Have a look at this, folks. There it is. Well, thanks very much, Tex.
No trouble.
You've filled in a gap.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen one of those start with a cartridge, and I guess a lot of people out there haven't seen one started with a cartridge either. So you've fulfilled my bucket list. I've seen a field marshal start with a cartridge now, and if you've got something else that starts on a cartridge, here's the details. Give me a call. Love to hear from you. Imagine working on this all day.
Yeah, the vibration. Yeah, you wear your teeth out. I think. Yeah.
Well, I hope you found that interesting. Next up is fishing, and we join my mate Tony Wong Cam as he battles a kingfish at the top of the Coromandel. If you'd like to send us your video of fishing, just give me a call 027 277 0717, send me a text, or email me billhoheper@extra.co.nz, and we can talk about how you can get your footage to me so we can play it on the old tally. So let's watch Tony.
It's a nice one. You guys good?
Is this recording or slow mo?
I don't know. Oh, that's a monster.
Dude, I'm actually about to sing. How's the kings? Your dad just here. You can. I got the GoPro.
On a video, the colour. Is it colour? Not the gaffer.
Oh, F off, boat.
It was a massive power too.
Maybe the big one.
Yeah, pull that.
Hold this.
You get bronzy now.
Cameron, help me move this one. No, it's all good. It's all good.
On my foot.
Yep. Oh, wait. Yep.
Oh, nice one. Should I gaffer it?
Oof.
Oh, that's a big thing, man. That's a biggie.
Should I put the camera in the no.
Are you sure, Cam? You got to get it in the head, eh, mate?
Yeah, okay.
Dad, do you want me to get the rod and...
I'll get it.
Oh, that's a big king. Oh no, the GoPro got wet.
Well hooked it looks. I can gaffer it or?
No, wait. You fucking hit the line too. Wait, there, now. Right under the boat.
Woohoo! Let's go, bitch!
That's a nice kingy. Holy hell, that's a nice kingy. Let's go.
Okay, I'm sorry.
In this next section, we're going to have a look at a Studebaker truck. They never came to New Zealand, they only went to Russia on the Lend-Lease program, and Australia got a few, but none came here. But a few guys have imported these Studebaker trucks, and so there's one in Kumeu, so let's go and have a look at our mate's truck, the old Studebaker. Well, welcome to this little section, and what we're going to do is look at some army trucks from the World War II. Behind us here, and with me is Alan. Alan, welcome to our little show, and this all has been inherited by Alan, and he tells me he's the monitor, the looker after
caretaker,
the caretaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is where they live, in this shed most of the time.
Yes.
Have you had them out to some of the rallies that they have with the military vehicles?
A little bit, yeah. Generally, they do a lot of sitting, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we get them out now and then, just blast around the block and take them for a run. But
You've got to
yeah.
keep them running, or they'll
yeah,
just...
that's right. Yeah, keep the batteries up. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a Jeep, and the other thing, interesting about Jeep in our travels, that we've found that Mahindra, which is an Indian company, made Jeeps on behalf of Jeep. And so you see two Jeeps lined up side by side, and the only difference between them is one's got a Mahindra logo and the other one's got a Jeep logo.
Yes.
And it's the only thing that you would know that was different.
Right.
And Jeeps are just fascinating. Whoever made this has really, really thought about all the things that could possibly happen to you, like break down at night.
Yes.
And so what you do when you break down at night is you lift up the bonnet, and
That's right.
the headlight here sort of turns inside out, so you can,
Yep.
it lights up what's going on in here. You
That's
can
right.
sort of fix it.
Yep.
Things like that, little half lights. Apparently you can take the whole thing apart in about 15 minutes and reassemble it
That's
on
right.
the other side of the river.
Yeah.
But very well thought out
Yeah.
little machine for what it did at the time.
You can actually take the tyres off and lift them onto the railway line, and they'll go on the railway lines.
There you
Yeah.
go.
But I think that's perhaps overseas because of the different gauge.
Oh, right. So you run them on the rims.
Yeah.
So that's a great idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything comes off, windscreen comes off, everything just slide bang,
Yep.
gone. Yeah, amazing. And a command car here, they were called. They were what the biggies sort of
Yeah.
drove round in, the colonels and the majors and the captains, and
Personnel carrier apparently.
yeah,
Yeah.
command car they
Okay.
generally called.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the plebs drove around in this and the bosses drove around
Yeah. Yep.
in this. Let's have a look at this command car, folks. It's a 6x6, and I said it was a command car, but looking at the other vehicles we saw, the command car is smaller. It's only 4x4.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is 6x6, and I'm just looking down at the levers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there's brake and clutch, accelerator. There's a handle, and then there's the gear lever, and then there's 3 other levers over the far side. Then maybe you could just tell me what they are.
Yeah, the one closest to us is your winch for pulling in the winch or retracting the winch cable.
So it's just that way or that way.
Yes, that's right. The next one's your gear shift, just a 4-speed plus reverse. The next one over is your handbrake. And then the next 2 over are your high and low ratio and to put the front diff into lock-up mode to drive the front wheels.
Oh, okay. So you've got 2 wheels driving at, 4 driving at the back, and the front ones are loose.
Yeah, I think my understanding is correct, or it's just the 2 at the very rear, and then that lever perhaps then operates the other 4, the ones at the front and the ones in the middle.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And all the little highlight lights, that light up the lights are sort of outside it.
Yes.
Yeah. And very basic. Well, this looks very modern. It's plastic, plasticized. It's got a horn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonder why you need a horn in the army.
Yeah. This particular vehicle was totally restored in 1983 by my father and his brother.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What's the engine in it?
It's a Flathead 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ford, Chev?
I don't know. I just know the vehicle's a Dodge, so
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
Right. Oh, well, let's go with Dodge.
Yeah.
That's another company. It's Ford, Chev, Dodge. Who else made Studebaker?
Hercules.
Yeah, Hercules engines. Yeah. Wow. On the back of the truck here, as in on the Jeep, they've got an axe and a shovel and a pick handle and a pick blade. With a pick and a mattock at this end. But the way they've thought about how all that fits onto the truck. So, it's you arrive somewhere and something happens, you need to chop your way out of something or dig a hole, it's all there ready to go. You just grab it and stick it back. And I think at times of war, the mind starts to think, and people will think of all the things that you need when you're out there by yourself, and you've got to have all these things to back yourself up with. You probably put about 12 guys in here, I'd say, 6 each side. Yeah, plenty of room. Yeah. Oh well, behind us, folks, there's a Studebaker, and as you probably know, I've got a Studebaker, but this is nothing like the one I've got. So let's have a look at that. Alan, the old Studebaker, they didn't come to New Zealand. The GMCs and the Internationals came to New Zealand, and they used those for logging trucks because of their 6x6 and 4x4 capability. They were a 2.5 tonne truck, the GMCs, to carry 2.5 tonne anywhere. 2.5 tonne, a truckload of guys, and go anywhere. Like that command truck over there, it's got all the axes and everything else that you need to go with it. But Studebaker must have thought, everybody else has got a contract except us. So the GMC's got the Army, the International's got the Navy.
Yes.
What have we got? Nothing. So what they decided to do, apparently, was make this particular truck, and I think it was on the borrow hire scheme, something like that, where they gave or sold them or gave them to Russia.
Yes.
So if you look at some old footage, the Russian rocket launcher trucks are these things.
Okay.
They're all launched off the back of this. You see soldiers all stacked on the back of these, all driving to the war.
Yes.
But so that's how Studebaker got into the war. And they went to Australia. There's lots of photographs of Studebakers in Australia, but none came here. I've seen 1, 2, 3. I've seen about 5 other Studebakers in the country, but they've obviously been brought in. But the thing about the Studebaker is the style. You sort of look at the GMCs and others; they're all square and bulletproof, blah blah blah. But these have got the slope windscreen, and they've got some style about them.
Okay.
So we'll just have a look in the cab. It's a left-hand drive like they all were. And this has got a handbrake, 2 other levers, and a gear stick and clutch and brake. But you were telling me before, this is quite a unique way to start this. Jump in. So we've got a clutch, brake, clutch. So to start the thing, you've got to
You're pushing the clutch to there and then push it a little bit harder, then it'll crank over.
wow.
Yeah.
So we've got a little. That's a little vent to let some
I think
air
it's
in.
an air vent, yeah,
Yeah.
at the front.
That's right.
Somehow. Yeah, like that. Somehow. Yeah.
Then there's the gear stick, 4 gears,
Yep. 4 gears.
and then there's 2 other levers. What do you know what they're for?
There's actually 5 gears. It's a 5-speed.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's 5.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And we have a handbrake here.
Yep.
And these are high and low ratio, and also would lock in the front.
The front diff. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Gearbox. Club box. Sorry.
Very, very flash, I have to say. Yeah.
And the windscreen will actually pop out. You can
And
push
open it
in
up.
on
Yeah.
their,
Yeah.
you know, on the hinge there as a complete unit.
Amazing. What I've got here is a copy of Talking Trucks. This is a book I wrote a couple of years ago, and it's the history of New Zealand trucking. And it's all from the programs that I did between 2013 and 2016. I'm going to let this go for $25. So it's a special. Father's Day's coming up, Christmas is coming up. So if you'd like your copy, there's my phone number, 027 277 0717. Just send me a text or email me, billhoheper@extra.co.nz to get your copy. $25 and the history of New Zealand trucks. On Saturday, November the 6th, we leave for another Bill Hoheper Old Truck Tour of New Zealand. We leave from Auckland and make our way to Wellington, cross over on the ferry to the South Island and continue down all the way to Richardson's Museum in Invercargill. Then we travel up the coast all the way to Wakefield and on to Rockville. All this and looking at old trucks as we go, as well as seeing a fair bit of New Zealand. We have 12 places available and people will travel by minibus. So if you have an ex-truck driving dad or granddad or somebody you know, maybe this special trucking holiday treat will be just a ticket. Maybe a Father's Day surprise. If you'd like to find out more, just go to my Facebook page, Bill Hoheper's 2021 Old Truck Tour, and all the details are there. Or just email me at billhoheper@extra.co.nz.
Ray, this is an amazing story. We're basically standing in the engine bay, I suppose, of one engine where Ray is and another one where I am.
Yeah, right.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
And this is a Euclid.
yeah. Euclid CT12.
Yeah. So perhaps tell us the story about this. This is amazing, folks. You've got to listen to this.
Yeah, well, this is one off 9 that's come to New Zealand. It belonged to Dick Collis. It was his first new one, and Dick had he had 4 of them. He had two new and 2 second-hand ones. This one, unfortunately, was flooded in an open cast coal mine. It for 22 years underwater, 52 feet deep. How that mine come to be flooded, the guy had 2 pumps to keep it dry, and if one pump malfunctioned, he's supposed to have the other one fixed.
Oh, righto.
But at this stage he had, the second one wasn't fixed, and the next one broke down, and he was in trouble.
Yes.
So they tried to salvage it at a time where they could only get one motor to go, and she would just turn around in circles. He wouldn't drive out with one motor. So she ended up being left there for sake of 22 years, as I said. So Dick, we were collecting old dozers and different things. He said, "You ever thought about getting the one out of the old Oi?" And I said, "Yeah, well, we thought about it." So we went ahead and got permission from the council and the owner, and we were 6 weeks, or 6 to 7 weeks, that is
draining the lake.
Running the pond, yeah.
The pond.
Which was 52 feet deep where the tractor was sitting, and with the 2 ponds, there was about 8 acres of water
Wow.
we covered, yeah.
And so when you found it, it just sort of jammed into the mud.
Well, the whole hill had come over it, like she'd been sitting underwater for I don't know how many years, but I think it must have been 84, 83 when we had the big flood down here. The whole hill on the north side, because this was right under the hill, the whole hill had come over and covered her up. And yeah, like you couldn't tell where it was, you know. But it was the old last owner, last driver. He said, well, it was under, like it was under the road, on the second road down, and he was dead right. It was right under where he said.
Right.
But along one part of it, like we've been going a fortnight, and we've only got 2 feet of water off in a fortnight. So we had to shut down. We shut down for a week till we got more pumps in. So yeah. But halfway through the job, the oldest boy, he decided to get married halfway through the job. So yeah, we had to get another jug of the man in the pumps that night. But never mind, we managed to keep it going. And yeah.
So this bulldozer actually is quite unique in that it has 2 engines, but it also sort of swivels, sort of in the centre, if you like.
Yeah, well, like there's two motors on each side, Detroit motors on each side, 671s, driving through an Allison transmission, 3-speed Allison transmission at each side. You either change one transmission up or one into reverse to turn it,
Yep.
or you slacken one motor off and speed up the other motor. Very, very versatile machine when they were going, you know, like if there was a guy sitting on the side beside you, travelling along, like you could fire him off the side by like giving a quick turn.
Sure.
And you would notice, anyone knowing anything about track gear, a lot of these bolts and the rails of the tracks and through the grousers are spread. Now that's just for someone just jamming a one into reverse, one forward, and actually spreading the track chain.
Oh, okay.
So that's how much force they put on it.
Sure. So, like I was saying, unless both engines are going, you can't actually go straight.
No,
Oh.
that's dead right.
Yeah.
You've got to have both motors going.
Wow.
Otherwise, one will just spin you around in circles.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the condition of it for sitting under the water and in the mud for, you know,
Well, it was pretty good, Bill, really. Like, there was no rust on it whatsoever. The rust has only appeared from it the moment we got it out to the ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. The motor on the left-hand side drives the blade. The motor on the right-hand side drives the rippers at the back.
And they're no small thing.
Yeah.
So in its day, this was the bee's knees.
Well, it was like in its days, you know, it done a good job.
1959 or 1960? 1959 or 1960, they're building things like this. This is just phenomenal yet again.
Yeah. Really, they were quite drafty from the point of view of the driver because your radiators were at the back, Bill.
Oh, okay.
And you had the housing over top of the radiator, which the drafter got a wee bit of draft onto the driver, you know.
So again, they don't think about the driver.
That's right. That's it, right. They didn't think about the driver. That's what it could shift to the other end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An amazing feat getting this thing out of the mud, 52 feet under the water, drain the lake, get this out, and is the all back to normal?
Actually, you wouldn't know where we've been now, Bill.
No.
No, you wouldn't. You can see where actually the mud slide to come over it with the tide marks on the blade. You see the marks on the blade? Not the bird shit, just down below that. Yeah.
Well, Ray, it's been a great experience. This story about this bulldozer is just absolutely amazing, and I'm sure you'll find it interesting. But if you do know there's a few bits and pieces that for one of these, let Ray know, or get hold of me. What are you looking for in particular?
Yeah, bottom rollers, Bill.
Bottom rollers.
Yeah, we've got bottom rollers on here with no flanges.
Oh, okay. So if you
Yeah.
know somebody who's got some of those, we'd love to hear from you. And Ray, thank you very, very much.
It's been a pleasure, Bill.
Absolute pleasure meeting you and seeing all those old trucks again, and particularly that old East Medford. I mean,
Yeah.
that just brought back the
Good on you.
brought back the day.
Next time you're down, we'll have a drive around.